My name is Rodney Rikai, and I'm the brand new host of Season 3 of SZN Opener. SZN Opener is all about talking to college athletes about their experience being collegiate athletes. So we'll talk about NIL and all things revolving around their life and world.
Welcome to another episode of SZN Opener. I'm your guy, Rodney Rikai. Very, very special guest, an elite guest joining us today on SZN Opener. The former #1 overall volleyball player in the state of South Carolina, a two-time NCAA champion. I mean, the resume is kind of crazy. Mariana Singletary. What's up, beloved? How you feeling?
I'm good. How are you?
I am sturdy.
Okay,
I'm
I like
sturdy.
that.
Yeah. Like I'm not. You can't really shake me right now. I'm sturdy. That's
I
where I'm
like
at
that.
with it. Yeah. Before we get into some of the questions that I have just about your life, I want to know about from a personality and coaching standpoint. All right,
Mhm.
some different things about you. What is your go-to pair of shoes right now?
Right now, so for my birthday, I have a very, very kind, generous friend. She got us matching off-white Jordan 4s.
That's
So
a
I've
good
been
one.
I've been rocking those. Like I literally love, like, not too much because I can't wear it too much, but like
Right.
when occasion calls for it. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
And are you a music aficionado? Do you love music?
I do, yes.
Okay. What are you currently listening to?
Currently, honestly, it depends on the vibe of the day. So, like, I'll switch from, like, Afro beats to, like, rap. I'm the team DJ, so, like, I have to be able to vibe with, like, a little bit of everything. Um,
Yo,
but I'm obsessed with The Weeknd. He's, like, my I don't know, I just love The Weeknd. Yeah.
like okay, like old school House of Balloons weekend or
Yes,
this new
all the
version?
way to, like, Dawn F like, I
Okay.
love all of it.
Okay, all right. Then
Yeah.
we're aligned. We're aligned.
Okay. Yes.
Um, I gotta ask you though, to be the team DJ, is
Mhm.
that just as important as being team captain?
Honestly, 100% yes. We have a lot of, like, it's stressful, but we have a lot of, like, assigned jobs outside of just, like, on the court. So, like, we have a tape captain because we do finger tape. We have a fashion captain to make sure we're all, like, wearing the same uniform things when we travel. So I'm, like, the team DJ. It's a thing, you pass it on. So, like, I have playlists for everything. I play practice or music during practice, and then I have, like,
Yeah.
locker room playlists to get everybody locked in. So it's, like, a lot of pressure because not everybody gets to, like,
Yo,
same thing. So it's, like, you know
music is frequency, and
yeah.
frequency and energy dictates all. So if you
Mhm.
set in the energy for the room, you've
Yeah.
essentially been the real bloodline of y'all championships, which is crazy.
Yeah, I know.
That's like
Yeah,
like forget
it's
the
pretty cool.
blocks and the kills. Like that is
Yeah,
really the music.
yeah, I know, behind the scenes, but yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about the sport of volleyball, which you're elite at. At what age did you start playing, and who introduced you to the sport?
Yeah, so, I started playing when I was, like, 9 or 10, very juvenile. Like, I had a couple of friends in the neighborhood who were going to a local, like, high school camp, and I was like, "Oh, that sounds fun." My parents would always ask me every summer, like, what I wanted to do, and I used to be really big into swimming, like, that used to be my niche. I thought I wanted to do Olympics for that, like, Michael Phelps was everything to me, and I was like, "That's what I wanna do," and then I found volleyball, and it was at first, it was just a lot of fun. Like, I remember we got icy pops for lunch, like, during breaks, and they played fun music, so I was like, "I like this." Like, when I was little, it was just like, "This is so much fun, I'm with my friends, and, we're just doodling around," but, I just stuck with it, and I continued to go back, and I learned, you could play club volleyball with it, learned you can be on a travel team, high school, and, like, the longer I stayed with the sport, the more I just learned about it, and the more I
Mhm.
fell in love with it, so, yeah.
Okay. So you inevitably wind up at Portugal High School. Is that how you pronounce
Mhm.
it? Portugal?
Portugal.
In Charleston, Portugal, in
Yeah.
Charleston, South Carolina. When you were selecting your high school, were sports a part of that decision?
Yeah, definitely a major part of that decision, as well as education and somewhere that would push me in every single aspect of, growing up or going to high school. So athletics was definitely a big part of it. And, they have a very rigorous academic program there. So not only was that part of, like, being prepared for college, but, they take their sports very seriously. So I definitely felt like while I was able to grow in the classroom, they're also prioritizing me on the court so I can be better. Yeah.
Do you know who your most notable alumni are?
Yeah, wait. Oh my gosh. What's his name?
Oh, that's crazy.
No, stop. I know. Chris Middleton.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
And Josiah James. Is he notable?
Okay.
Aaron Neesmith.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
You got one more.
One more. Oh, me.
He's probably. Yeah, of course you. Stephen Colbert.
Oh, wait. I didn't know that.
Stephen Colbert went to the high school. I was doing my research and I was like, oh,
Okay.
snap, that's crazy.
I didn't know that. We see him all the time around.
Word.
Yeah.
So I gotta ask, growing up in South Carolina with the other I live in LA, so it's the other USC right there.
Yeah.
How did you escape the lure of playing basketball and playing for Dawn Staley?
Yeah. So I've actually never touched a basketball league in my life. Like my dad tried to get me interested in it, you know, because he played basketball collegiately, and like that was something that he wanted me to get into. I just never could. I've always said I like being aggressive on my side of the net and being able to do me without having to touch you. You know what I mean? Contact sport is not my thing, but so yeah, I don't know. I've never been interested in basketball. Like, yeah.
I love that answer. Like, I don't want you touching me, so I need my personal space.
Yeah,
that's wild. Because like, there's a lot of conversations that exist between basketball and football athletes in this last year about which sport is easier to play for the athlete in the opposite sport. So basketball players say they can easily transition into football. Football players say they can dominate on the basketball court. And there is some synergy between volleyball and basketball, right? Like,
definitely.
You have Chase Budinger, who played in the NBA, went to the University of Arizona, who ended up a professional volleyball player playing in the Olympics. What are the skills that you think are transferable from volleyball to basketball?
I think first thing that comes to mind is like a lot of eye work, eye coordination, being able to track the ball and like play the game with your eyes almost without having to move. So like, you know, like there's a screen, you know, where your player's going, and same thing blocking. Like I know where the setter's gonna put the ball. So I definitely think that. I don't just like being athletic. Like I don't. I honestly really don't know a lot about basketball.
Right.
I tell you, I don't know.
I love that. High key, I love that. All right. Well, you kind of talked about some skill things, and my next question revolves around that. When you get named the #1 player in your class in any sport, right, in your state, you get an automatic target on your back. And so when you get that target on your back, I know what it looks like in football and basketball when somebody is trying to go at you and go after you. In volleyball, there has to be a similar thing that takes place. But because I am not well versed in the sport of volleyball, how does someone try to go at and attack the #1 player in volleyball?
Like in a game?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it probably came out a lot in club. Like high school, it was pretty quote unquote easy for me to dominate because like our conference wasn't the best, but we had one of the better teams all around. I think come club, like, you know, we're walking in these gyms and everybody knows like who we are and like, oh, that's so-and-so, they're going here, they're ranked this. And when it comes on the court, you can definitely feel like the energy is like different. It's not just like a volleyball game. We're playing each other and that's it. Like there's more passion, you know, towards it. And like when you get a kill, there might be some talk back through the net, or if you get blocked, like you get stare downs. And so it definitely I think it comes from a more of like an energy perspective than it does like an actual like action, you know, like I can't tackle anybody or target anybody. So yeah.
Got you. I would imagine if somebody's on the back line and they were talking crazy, like you know, being close to the net and killing stuff, you might just want to, you know, hit a ball extra hard in a direction.
Right.
Kind of
that kind of there's definitely there's definitely some like slight little things, but
Yeah, it's the little nuances and the minutia that to the naked eye we could never see, right? The
Mhm.
intentionality of like attacking someone, like, oh, she
Yeah.
weak, like I'm gonna
Yeah.
go smack at her. That I would
100%.
imagine takes place. Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot too that like the TV doesn't catch that like in the game you're like, "Oh my god, like I can't believe she just did." Yeah.
That's fire. So in your recruitment process, what were you looking for in terms of your college of choice, and was NIL a factor at all?
Yeah, so I'll start with NIL first. That wasn't a factor at all because back then, like even the NCAA rules were changing a lot for recruiting. So before they enacted this, what they now call the June 15th rule, I was being recruited when I was like 12, turning 13. Like people were committing in 8th grade to these colleges and they were getting like scholarships. And it was like kind of crazy when you think about it. Like a 12-year-old should not be really like honestly thinking about college and they probably don't know what they want. Right. So
Right.
then they brought in this June 15th rule, which meant you couldn't actually have a back and forth conversation with collegiate coaches until June 15th of your junior year. So you could
Okay.
do recruiting, but everything that came from the coaches had to go through your club coach and then to you. Like it couldn't just be direct. Like they couldn't just be in my email, because you don't know what's going on in there. But so yeah, so it kind of slowed down the process a little bit. But NIL
Okay.
wasn't really a thing until I guess around my freshman year. I don't actually know when they passed that law that about NIL, but 22 to 23, I think, was when it really started to ramp up. And now, like, it is a part, like Texas, we have, like we work with compliance really closely, and Jarrett's really big on making sure that we're all like well versed and we know what's going on in those areas. So we're able to make deals very confidently for ourselves and all that. But it wasn't a part of my recruiting process originally. And then what was the first part of your question? It was
What were you looking for in terms of school during your recruitment?
yeah, so I think something that it's unique to me, like I didn't grow up having a dream school. My parents didn't groom me to be any specific type of fan, so I really had all the options in the world, which is a little overwhelming because I am the most indecisive person ever. So it was like, oh my gosh, I can do whatever I want, but oh my gosh, I can do whatever I want. Like that is terrifying. But a lot of it just came down to like location, weather. My mom really was big on if God forbid something were to happen to where I can no longer play volleyball, would I still love that university? Would I still want to get an education from there? Would I still want to be there with the people I'm around? So it allowed me to focus a lot. Like obviously I know I can handle the volleyball side. That's what I know. That's what I'm used to. But it was the education, location, culture at those universities. What are the coaches and coaching staff like? What is their support staff from training, nutrition, like weight room, all the other little things that go into being elite that are also just as important. And Texas had the best of both worlds for me there.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And then you get to Texas
Mhm.
and you redshirt.
Yes.
So was that discussed prior to your arrival, or what made you ultimately decide to redshirt?
Yeah. So we had, oh my gosh, my freshman year was like insane, but there was like a walk-on, Asia O'Neal, who's Jermaine O'Neal's daughter.
Okay.
And we recruited Kayla Caffey, who plays pro in the US, and then Bella Bergmark, she plays pro overseas right now. But they got recruited in during the spring, I think it was, so before our fall season. I was already there. I had been there since the summer. Then they came, and I had a conversation with Jarrett about redshirting, and usually it's like a known thing at Texas. They redshirt their middles. They also call it MBU, Middle Blocker University. So they're known for producing prestige middle blockers. And so it's kind of like a necessary step. So it allows you to learn more and just like not have to focus on as a freshman already, like that's a lot of pressure, but then having to perform on the court. So in the moment it was hard because, I'm coming off of high school, I'm getting Gatorade this, I'm told I'm number one this, like I have all these accolades, Under Armour All-American. And then I go to university and I'm like, okay, like I'm good enough to play. Like this is what I do. And then you get redshirt and it's like something I think a lot of people that go to D1 colleges have never experienced before because you go in like top dog, So it definitely was a huge growing moment for me. But in hindsight, I am so thankful for it because it allowed me to learn under like 4 insane All-American middle blockers, and I'm so much wiser for that. But it was definitely really hard in the moment. Yeah.
So, but during that process, right, when you're redshirting, because I think people hear redshirt, they think you kind of just hit the weight room. How much a part of the team are you? What is the day in the life of a redshirt
Mhm.
freshman as opposed to the rest of the team? What were you
Yeah.
involved in? What did you miss out on?
Yeah. So I honestly, just off the bat, I think the only difference is you just don't play on the court. You're still doing the same amount of work. You still have class all day. You have to fit in training time. You're eating your meals. You're doing homework. Then you still have your block of practice. And for me, what I'm thankful for, like I was able to really throw myself. I'm like, okay, at the end of the day, I'm not going to play this year at point blank. I was able to accept that. And okay, well now where else can I put my energy? And it's in practice. That's the 2.5 to 3 hours that I have a day to get better and to push my teammates. So although I wasn't seeing the results out in the court of me actually progressing, I was like, this is what I'm going to contribute to the team, is like kicking your ass in practice. So that was my job. That's how I took it. And it's honestly, if anything, like harder than playing, because you're just working so hard all the time in practice and you're like, this is what I do. And then come game day, you're like, uh, you know?
Yo, that
Yeah.
sounds miserable. I'm not gonna lie to you.
No, it
That
was
sounds
really hard.
miserable.
Yeah, it was really hard. But it helps because it wasn't just me. A lot of the other girls in my class also were in similar situations. And of course, I had my parents who were like my biggest supporters. I wouldn't be half where I am today without them. And my coaches, like they were a really big part of it too. Just it feels like why did you do this to me? But it was really for me, if that makes sense. So just maturing and being able to understand and see the bigger picture of like, it's not just about me right now in this moment as a freshman. Like I have so much more ahead of me. Yeah.
That's a beautiful place to arrive to.
Mhm.
And I'm sure afforded you the luxury of expanding your perspective,
Yeah.
which is, something that really takes people a long time to
Mhm.
be able to zoom out and see the full picture. So for
Yeah.
you, at a young age to now have an understanding of what a zoom out looks like, and it's great in
Mhm.
volleyball, but in life there'll be other situations, and when you have to do
Yeah.
the same thing, it's just you're so much better prepared for life having gone through that experience, which
Mhm.
until this conversation, I had never even thought of. I thought, it's just
Yeah.
like I look at redshirt and like almost like
Mhm.
a prep year for many people, like just from a
Right.
physical standpoint, but mentally, man,
Yeah.
what an advantage.
Yeah, no, it was
Yeah, that's
definitely
tough.
hard. Like, I don't take anything away from that experience. That was probably the hardest year of my life up to this point. But like I said, I'm so grateful for it. And like, I just being able to take away those lessons. And it's so
Yeah,
easy to get caught up in the everyday little moments when that's all you do. Like, school, eat, lift, practice, school, eat, lift, game,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Then your freshman year, you win a natty. Like your active freshman year, you
Yes.
win the natty, right? Going into that season, did that feel like a realistic goal? Was that, I mean, of course, when you're playing at that high of a level, at a Power Five, every season you feel like you have a chance. But did you really believe in your heart of hearts that you were on a team that could win a national championship?
Are you referring to last year?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, Texas's culture is different. Like you said, obviously at that level, everyone's expecting to win. That's what you do. Jarrett, his philosophy is like, we all understand that it's there and that we want that, but we don't talk about it. Because until
mm,
we get to the postseason, it's one game at a time. It's winning the then Big 12, now SEC championship. It's the little games every day that you have to play before you get there. So it's like we're all aware of it. We all know we're working towards that goal, but it's not a part of our everyday discussion at all, which I think
really.
helps alleviate some pressure too, because just because you are a D1 athlete, that's the expectation. That doesn't make it any less daunting. Like winning is really hard, and especially winning at a national level. And so I think not talking about it helps take away some of the pressure, and it helps let you focus and be present in that moment of like, okay, we play Baylor next weekend. We really need to focus on that. And that's all we need to focus on. But Texas culture is like, I think, really special, and Jarrett prides himself on how he's built the program the past couple of years of maintaining that culture. Our slogan is people, excellence, dedication, and that's just like 3 words we try to live by. People being, you know, who we surround ourselves with, what type of people, friends, sisters we want to be to our teammates, how we treat our staff and everyone we have everyday interactions with. So holding yourself to the highest standard as a person. Dedication to your sport, to your academics, just to your everyday life, to each other, like dedicated to the mission. And then excellence and just being excellent in like everything we do. And it's easier when everybody's on the same page. So you have some accountability there. You have people to lean on when you're like, I don't have 100% today, but I'm going to give 100% of my 80%, you know? And so it's like a push pull, but it's a really nice like community and sense of family that, you know, you can trust. We talk about a lot, like a circle of trust too. So when we're going through tougher times, like we're able to circle the wagons and really just focus on our family and our circle and protect that. So I think, you know, we think a lot back to like that Tennessee match at Stanford for the Sweet 16 to then Elite 8 to get to the Final Four. And we almost lost that match. We won. They challenged the last point, the game point. We won by that, you know, 2-point cap. But we always focus back on like how in that game at baseline, we have the skills to play. We have the skills to win. Jarrett's going to put us in the best position possible to win physically, right? It's the intangibles that push you past those moments. So it's like all the hard workouts we had during the summer, that's when that moment kicks in and you're like, I have trust in this person next to me to do their job. I believe in that. We've set the foundation, the trust is there. And that's what really carried us through, you know, I think last year's tournament, because those were some pretty tough matches. And like I said, we knew we could do it physically, but it just comes down to belief and like, my sister and I have her back and I know she has mine and we're going to be good. And you just have to be able to trust on that. But if you don't work on the culture, like, you know, you'll never. Yeah.
I promise you, this was literally my next question. You just answered everything that I was going to ask you because I'm always so interested in the mental aspects of winners. Mm-hmm. And like, what is the culture that cultivates winning and nurtures the mentality of a winner? Because, you know, to be great is great, of course, but to be a winner is a different thing.
Yeah.
And I was going to ask you, what is the mentality of your team and the core philosophy of NC volleyball? But you literally just answered.
There you go. Yeah. It's crazy too when you see it in action because, you know, you can talk about it all you want. And we do all these little exercises throughout the week and we go into practice and we have 3 minutes of gratitude beforehand. We grab a partner and we'll have a gratitude prompt. And it's like, what are you grateful for that you get to do every day? Or what in the past week, like, has made you XYZ? We'll have different moments of just like reflection because we're only there for such a short time. And in that time, we're trying to complete these really lofty goals and complete our degrees and just like grow as people. And you want to come out at the end as like some transformative person, right? And so it's like all these little things that we do every day that you're like, you don't think in the moment that this is going to help me win a national championship, but then it does. So I think it's a really beautiful thing when you see it all like come to fruition. And then I say it all the time too, but I'm like, sometimes my coaches know what they're talking about. They know what they're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so glad that you're not arrogant with your time. Mm-hmm. I remember when I was in college, I thought that it was just like, yeah, I got time. I'm in college, like whatever, you know? And I didn't necessarily understand how fast it was going to go. And then when it is over, it is like, wait, there's no more? Like, so now I'm just like in the real world? Oh, no, take me back. No.
Yeah.
So yeah, shout out to you for knowing that this is a very small, finite window in which you'll never get this time back when you're like in this limbo. You're in this limbo between like adulthood and your youth to a degree where you are responsible for your outcomes, no doubt about it. But you also have a little bit of a cushion for somebody to come in and save you and rescue you should you need. And I talked to your father earlier, so I'm sure you're always going to have that. But college is just a very unique purgatory.
I agree.
A developmental purgatory, we'll call it.
Yeah.
Okay, so how did the university and the city celebrate you after your team won the chip?
Uh, well, okay, so last year we got back that night. We left Tampa and we landed on campus, and it was probably midnight, 1 a.m. Like, it was so late. And we just got off the plane, and the bus pulled up to our tower, the UT tower, and they light it burnt orange and they put a 1 on it, on like all 4 sides. And that's where we take our like pictures. So we're holding the trophies, and our photographers were all there. They had background set up with like an orange backdrop, and they brought both the trophies, and they were just like people and all of our fans just there. And it was really weird because it's like so late and you wouldn't, expect anything to be there. But it was a really beautiful moment. And yeah, we touched down, and there were just people celebrating and appreciating. And I don't know, it means a lot, obviously, to be able to represent your university and the girls, and our fan base is like no other. And yeah, it means a lot just to be able to bring that home. And UT obviously prides themselves on athletics and being elite. And so, yeah, that was really fun when we just came back.
What day did you get back? What day of the week was that? You remember?
I have no clue.
Was it a Sunday? Okay. I'm just like, do you go to class whatever next day that you have a class? Like, do you go to class? Like, I'm not going to class like you want to chip.
No. Yeah, there would be no class. Actually, everybody had been done with finals, so we were able to literally go home like within the next 2 days.
Okay.
But if I had class, I would not be in class.
I'm not going to class, fam. I just want to chip. Fall back. We're not doing that.
Exactly.
Like, you are tweaking.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's beautiful. I wish. So I went to an HBCU. I went to North Carolina A&T State University.
Okay.
And like, so obviously it's the largest HBCU in the country. So we do have like a large collection of people, 16,000, but it pales in comparison to UT.
Yeah.
And so I wish that we won like the HBCU Celebration Bowl championship or whatever. And it's cool, but I can't imagine winning a natty at a Power 5 and like the energy around that. It's levels. There's levels to that.
Yeah.
So you have a brand deal with team. I want to make sure I pronounce this right.
Avali.
Yes. So I just learned about this brand, right? By virtue of preparing to speak with you. Yo, the shoes are fire. The shoes are fire.
No, they're nice. They're real nice.
No, like for real.
Yeah.
What has that partnership meant to you? And how does it work when you have a brand deal with a company different than the one that sponsors your university?
Yeah. Okay. So I'll tackle that question first. There's, especially with Texas, there's like a lot of laws between like when and what you can film, what you can't film. I'm allowed to have partnerships with other companies. Some of our teammates have partnerships with like Adidas, even though we're a Nike school. So we're just not allowed to film anywhere on campus or with like the Texas logo. So like, I don't know if you've noticed or seen any of my volley reels. They're all like of me at home or me in like a different space wearing all of volley stuff. Like, I wouldn't be recording me playing in the shoes in our practice gym, like anywhere where you can see Texas, because that's a liability. There is something where like companies can pay for the Longhorn logo if they wanted me to be able to wear Texas in it, but that's Texas like #1 rule. So unless they like have paid for the logo and the properties of the burnt orange, Longhorn, and all that, like,
right,
can't wear anything Texas. So we are allowed to have other brand deals, but yeah, this company is like literally insane. I'm so excited to have been working with them this previous year. Like you said, they literally look like the sickest shoes ever. I think it's like, it's so special that it's a volleyball specific brand, because I don't think people, like, if you don't play volleyball, you might not understand. But growing up, like, my dad would buy me like a new pair of shoes for club and for high school season, but they were always basketball shoes. And so, like, I mean, yeah, that's great. They're still for athletic movements and all that and jumping, but the mechanics are different. They don't, basketball goes up and down. Volleyball is more lateral. So it's like, it's the little scientific things that I probably don't know how to properly say that are important in the shoe, but just the wider toe box, it's made for like a female foot specifically, which is like never before heard of. And the colors are like very fun and like outgoing, and I don't know, it just feels nice to have something that's made for a sport specifically tailored, and they tackled a hole in the market that, you know, hasn't been filled. So it's really exciting to see them succeed and to be a small part of that. But yeah, they're really doing some incredible stuff for the sport.
I want to reiterate, the shoes are fire.
No,
Like,
I
when I
know.
was on the website, I was like, wait,
They
what is
just
this?
dropped them with like the sunset and like the blue lagoon colors, and oh my gosh.
Fam, they look better than a majority of the basketball sneakers from major brands
Yeah,
that I've seen come out recently. I'm not even like putting gas on it because that's the brand
yeah,
that you're with. I was taken aback. I was like, oh, this is
yeah.
crazy.
They look really nice, and they're doing it really well.
Yeah. So just a couple more questions,
Yeah.
and I'll free you. Okay, so I live in LA, right?
Okay.
And I ride. I cycle. You know,
Okay.
I like to cycle. I'll do like a 40, 50-mile ride.
Okay.
And I ride out to the I'm legit with it. And
Yeah,
then
what?
so I'll go out to like to the west side, out to the beach, Santa Monica,
Mhm.
Venice, or whatever. And beach volleyball it's like all over the beach, right? There's like it's like hundreds of nets. It's
Courts,
just,
yeah.
and they're always packed out. So
Yeah.
how different is beach volleyball from the volleyball that's played on hardwood? Obviously, you know, recognizing the number of players and stuff like that
Right.
is different, but
Yeah.
just the sheer physicality of playing in sand versus playing on hardwood.
It's like night and day, and that doesn't even cover it. Like I guess I'll say I've been fortunate enough to actually I've played D1 beach volleyball, which is funny to say. But so
That's crazy. I love the thing.
Yeah, so my freshman year, spring, we brought a beach program to Texas. They weren't allowed to recruit girls yet. They didn't even have a head coach yet, but they knew they were going to bring beach volleyball to UT. So we were the first ever beach volleyball team at UT. Our assistant coach, Eric, was our beach coach. And all the indoor girls, we just started playing beach volleyball. We have courts. They have like their own facility down there, their own separate team, which is, it's been really cool to see them grow from like us being there to, you know, these girls are like legit in their sport, so they're actually good.
Right.
But they put us in, we got to go to Hawaii for spring break, which was really nice. But our spring was a little different. We went to Queens Beach tournament in Waikiki Beach, and we played like literally Power 5 beach volleyball schools. So we're playing like the University of Hawaii, UCLA. We were playing, we didn't play USC, but we played like Washington. Nebraska has a beach team. And so it was like, honestly, I really hated it. I'm gonna be honest. I hated it so much. Obviously, like you said, there's two people. The rules are different. You can't really set the ball. You have to like deep dish it. You can't open hand tip. So you have to like pokey, it's what it's called. You do your fingers like this and you like stab it. And there's all these, I don't know, the mechanics. I just didn't understand it because I know indoor, 6 people, I know my position. Beach, there's so much more like space for creativity.
The cover. Yeah.
And I like being told like, this is what you're doing. You need to do this. Because if I have like, that's just too much, like I need direction. So it's so different. I mean, the rules, the way you play, and a lot of it I learned is dependent upon your partner. So like whoever you're paired up with, like you learn how to move with each other, you know, like how to read the other players. And I honestly, it translates a lot to indoor, but indoor does not really translate to beach, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
So were you decent?
Yeah.
No.
Next question. No, like honestly, no. Like I was so bad, and I hate doing things that I'm bad at. So why would I want to do that if I'm bad at it? But I just try to have fun at the end of the day, and like I was happy to be in Hawaii, so like I had a good time.
Wait, so how? Okay, because you're athletic. How does your athleticism translate on the sand? Like, can you jump as high? Do you feel like you're getting as much bounce? On sand?
So like no, not at all. Like I said, like indoor doesn't really translate to beach. So they do it like bigs and littles. Sometimes it's like a very simple juvenile breakdown, but like So obviously I'm tall. I'm going to be in the front row. And I was paired with like this. I'll take this previous season. I was paired with someone shorter, like a DS that you might see indoor. So she would play back row. I'm up at the front. I'm blocking. I call blocking scheme. So like if I hold up a 1, that means I'm going to take the hitter's line and she's going to cover like the cross angle of the court. A 2 is I'll take the angle and she'll dig line. And there's 3, which is show that you're taking the angle, and then last minute you dive to the line, last minute they run across and like cover the open space. So it's like a lot of power in the person that's like up front and figuring out. You can also pull. So like last minute, if you don't think the hit's going to be good and you're like blocking, and then like last minute you pull off the net so you can have pass with 2. But a lot of it's like quick. So I guess, yeah, like eye work was helpful because, you know, as a hitter in beach, there's only 2. So you're looking for space. So like you'll see when people play beach, like look up at the ball and then like look back at the court, trying to like read where the people are. So if you call the plays at the right time, the right moment. But yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. It looks miserable, and like it looks fun, right? Because the people that I watch play, you know, at the beach, like they're good, but it's like, yo, that's like a lot of physical exertion. Fighting against sand is it's hard. Like I tried to run on sand to work out. It's not comfortable.
No, it's hard. And then there's like weather conditions, and if the wind's too strong, the ball's going the wrong way, and
it's
that's
sailing,
why I play an indoor sport. We have AC. We're good.
We're good. There's a new volleyball league that started in 2024, the Pro Volleyball Federation, which was founded by a former NFL quarterback, Trent Dilfer, well, one of the people who was a part of the initiation of the league. Is there excitement for it from collegiate players, and how does it change your post-collegiate career path?
Yeah, there's so much excitement for it. It's one of there's like a couple that are out there now, like paired with Love, but it's one of the first pro teams in the U.S. on U.S. soil, which is huge because like even for me growing up, and I still want to go play pro overseas, but it's like that was your only option. You graduate college, you're looking for somewhere in Europe, somewhere in Asia, wherever that might take you. So it's nice to be able to know that like you can graduate college and still play the sport that you love somewhere that's familiar to you, where you don't have to like learn a whole new language and you're still making good money and your family can come see you. It's like all these little things that you're sacrificing when you go overseas to play your sport. So it's really exciting. And they have like a draft now, which we were all like super excited to watch this previous season and see who's going where and like matching up the teams and seeing everything. But it's awesome because it's, you know, straight out of college and you get to continue to watch people that you've been watching collegiately, but now they're playing pro and they're still here. So I think it's huge too, because I feel like a lot of, you know, U.S. sports like football, it's really fan based and like games would be nothing without the fans. So it's like now you're able to really have like sold out crowds for volleyball games. And that's like huge. And volleyball is making a lot of splash in the news and the media with everything that's constantly going on and how we're continuing to improve and really put our sport all on the map. And they're just a small part of it, which is really awesome.
Even before I had heard about the PVF, someone told me maybe about a year and a half ago, women's volleyball was going to be like the next major sports frontier. And they were very, very adamant about the ceiling for the business behind women's volleyball. And I was like, what are you talking about? And sure enough, you know, a year later, I hear about the PVF and like, oh, like this, it makes sense now that I see it, you know, it's kind of tangible and actualized. And I'm like, oh, like, I never thought about that league that helps because I watch volleyball on ESPN when it's on, you know, just at random times. So to be able to have a league that's based here in the States where, you know, if there's a player that I locked on to or a team I locked on to, like I can actually see, you know, the matriculation from college to pro, which is kind of why the WNBA has such a phenomenal year this year because, you know, Caitlin and Angel, that energy was able to transfer over to the pros. And they had such a small window between the end of their season and the start of the WNBA season. It's good business. So I think this is very fly.
Yeah, it is. It's really cool. And there's also, I'm a student athlete ambassador for another pro team called Love, LOVB, League One Volleyball. And that's another huge pro team that they're bringing here to the U.S. They already have some teams established, and their first serve is going to be in January 2025. I think it's on the 15th. But there's a Love Austin team. There's a pro team in Austin, and what they did, which is super cool for marketing purposes, but they took all of our graduates from like last year and 22. There's about 7 or 8 of them that graduated from UT, and they're all teammates back again, and they're all playing back in Austin. So it's been really fun, like a cool experience for us to be able to reconnect with our seniors and all of them, because those are the 2 teams that we won on these past 2 years, and so having them back in town is awesome. And I think we're definitely all planning to go watch that game, but that's another big league to look out for. So there's so much going on around the sport of volleyball, and they just got, I want to say, $11 million like funding. They have TV deals with like ESPN and all these huge things that are bringing a lot of revenue around the sport. So
yeah, it seems like a really good business model. And I debated on whether or not I want to ask you this question. I'm still kind of on the fence, like maybe I shouldn't ask it, but I'm going to ask it because I think it's important. One of the things about women's sports that a lot of people with antiquated mindsets say is that they want to see the femininity of women during sport play, right? It's been a criticism. We saw Shaq say it to Angel Reese in their podcast, right?
Yeah.
Where he was just like, well, if you're going to wear the dress, you might as well wear it out on the basketball court, dunking, So it's a wild concept.
Yeah.
But as a woman who was navigating it, right, in the sport that, if we can be honest, the players in volleyball you guys are sexualized at a high level. How do you navigate that, especially on social media where anybody can say anything?
Yeah. Honestly, I'm thankful enough that it really hasn't happened to me personally. I think anytime you're on any team with a national level reach or a platform, like obviously there's judgment, there's going to be criticisms, people are going to make weird comments that they shouldn't make. And it's definitely hard to navigate, as 18 to 23-year-old girls, women who are trying to figure themselves out. We're, at the end of the day, if you break it down, volleyball is just a game, and we're just students at a university dedicated to our sport and just trying to figure that out. But I think a lot gets lost in translation. I think something that's interesting has been, I don't know if you've seen, like even some high school teams that are starting to put their girls in like basketball shorts, or it's not like you can never play in leggings, but you can play in leggings now. So sometimes I know a lot of girls that'll just do that if they're uncomfortable with wearing spandex, but like there's ways to get around it. I think we're building from that like if you think about it, if I'm a back row defender and I'm wearing spandex and I'm diving all over hardwood floor, Terraflex, whatever,
extra sliding
how does that benefit me? If like the skin out part doesn't really matter, but I think some people are comfortable with it, some people aren't. It reminds me of like women's track and field, and like if you want to wear spandex or not, and that's like a personal decision. Some people think it helps them, some people think it doesn't. I don't think that conversation will ever necessarily leave the narrative, which is frustrating. It's always something that we're going to have to deal with, but yeah.
Okay. Those are all the questions that I have, except for the fact that when I was speaking with your father earlier, he was telling me about a company brand that you guys have. What is it? Trying Out Dreams? Am I tripping?
Test Drive All Dreams.
Yes, Test Drive All Dreams. Can you just talk before we get out of here just a little bit about that and what that slogan means?
Yeah, so TDAD, Test Drive All Dreams, is like what I've literally been raised on, me and my younger sister. It's something that our dad has instilled in us to just like baseline at the end of the day. If you want to do it, you want to try it, you want to achieve it, you're even thinking about it, just test drive it. If it doesn't work, like literally the worst thing that could happen is it fails, and now you know what not to do the next time, right? So it's like essentially no fear, no doubt, no regrets, like, in the moment, while you are able-bodied and while you can do it, while you have the mind for it, the resources for it, there's no reason to wait. Just test drive it, go for it. So I think that's really allowed us to go through life a lot freer and without fear of failure. He talks about failing forward a lot, fail fast forward, and being able to grow from that. So yeah, it's like whenever I'm going through a hard time or I'm like contemplating something really big, I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this. Like, what's the hesitation? There's no reason to be anxious. You know what I mean? Just go for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's like our new little company starting up for me and helping me promote myself better. And I have a website now, and there's some merch on that and just information about me as I navigate this playing field too. But yeah.
Fire, man. Thank you so much for your
Of
time
course.
today. This is
you.
incredible. You have such a smooth disposition about you.
Thank you.
It's
I
like,
appreciate it.
yeah. Like, nah, this is incredible. And I look forward to seeing you get drafted and what that looks like for you in the PBA, you know,
Same.
and all
Thank
the
you.
things. So
Thank you.
continued ascension, continued success. And your dad seems really cool.
Oh,
Really,
yeah.
really cool.
He's the
Yeah, I
guy.
can tell. Yeah, he's
He's
so
the guy.
smooth, G.
Yeah.
He's so smooth.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all we have. Season opener. I am Rodney Rikai. This is Mariana Singletary. We are out of here. Peace.